You started a year ago, right?
That's right.
Okay. What are some of the things that you could have done better when you look back?
I feel to understand customers' pain point. So in sales, I can talk about sales. The thing is, the number one thing about sales is to understand what is the number one problem your customer slash prospect is facing, and not and the thing is not to try and oversell. Try to be show empathy towards your customer. Show empathy towards what is the number one problem they are trying to solve, and if you deliver a solution which can solve that problem, bingo, you got your sales.
Okay. Where do you see your company in the next 5 to 10 years?
So as recently we launched a new platform, I can't tell you about 5 years, but for the next 2 to 3 years, I see my company being a multi-million pound business. Currently, we are in UK and Irish markets. We are thinking to grow into Indian as well as American market to make our, because the company which I have it is into a training business. So the number one
In what business?
it's a training company.
Training.
So what we do is we provide technology like platforms, content for the training industry. So we have analyzed that America as well as Indian market are quite big and lucrative. So next 2 to 3 years we want to focus into these markets and make our business a multi-million dollar business.
Okay. How much does your business make a year?
As of now, we are doing 700,000
Really?
currently.
Damn.
But next
That's a 5-figure income.
it is.
Not
But
bad, man.
in 3 years down the line, we are looking somewhat around 8 to 10 million.
Excellent,
is a goal.
excellent. Okay, could you tell me 5 ways you could improve your strategy as a company so that it can compete with other companies? 5 ways.
So the number one challenge which we are facing right now is because it's a bootstrap business, we don't have a lot of capital in our hand. So number one thing is to create a proper pitch deck. If we create a proper pitch deck, if we get investments, we want to grow our sales team. We want to grow our we want to we want to buy a few softwares through which we can easily maximize our potential. So because being a bootstrap, it is really hard for us to grow. And as of now, 700,000 which we have done, it's all organic.
Organic.
It's
Okay.
organic. We haven't paid anything like for Google ads. We haven't. The only thing which we did was like boosting posts on LinkedIn, something like that,
Okay.
and attending and exhibiting in conferences. But it was something which we did bootstrap. But now, if we get more funds, we want to grow quite fast.
Okay.
And if we do that, we will be easily achieving a target of tens of millions of pounds in revenue.
Okay, that's good. Now, you mentioned LinkedIn as one of the platforms for promoting your business. Now, why did you choose LinkedIn and not any other platform for organic reach?
So with LinkedIn, what we after a thorough discussion, what we understood was the people, the decision maker who will buy our platform, our services, are present on LinkedIn and not on Meta or on Facebook or Instagram, something like that, because it's a B2B product, and our product it's quite techy, like it's quite because we sell platforms. So the number one platform where people, the decision maker are on LinkedIn. So we chose LinkedIn, and commercially it was quite cheaper to boost a post on LinkedIn rather than buying ads on Meta or on Instagram. That was the number one reason.
How many hours do you put in your business on a daily basis?
On daily basis, I work it is not, to be honest, it's not 9 to 5. So somewhat I start at 9, sometimes I end up at 7, sometimes at 8. So it's not fixed schedule, but like in a week I give 60 to 70 hours.
Good, really. Like similar to Elon Musk, because Elon Musk has a similar profile where he works like 80 hours per week. Whoa,
So I don't believe in 9 to 5. I like to work according to my schedule. If I have something to do in the morning, I try to start my day a bit later, but then I try to put extra hours at the end of the day, because my job is to reach out people in different parts of the world. So I can do it anytime according to my convenience. But like on any given day, I put in 8 to 10 hours.
It's
Easy.
10 hours. Now, looking back when you started and looking to your present status now, would you have continued with this field, or would you have gone branched out to another business?
If you would have asked me this question a couple years ago, I was not that confident to speak with anybody, and because my job is quite uh, people oriented. Like I'm
Okay.
speaking with you
Face to
similarly,
face.
face to face. Like last month, I exhibited at a conference where I spoke with over 2,000 people in span of 2 days.
Yeah.
So if you would have asked me the same question, I wouldn't have done that. But now I feel I have become more confident. I can speak with people. I can try to solve their problems. So I can see that changes.
Okay. On a line of 100%, what percentage are you an introvert and an extrovert, or you're combined, or
I'm combined. It totally depends on the situation. If you ask me to speak in front of 1,000 people on a stage, I can't do that. That's the number one thing I am trying to improve. Like the only reason I said yes for this interview was I have always tried to avoid when people confront me on the street to speak on camera. I always hesitated,
Yeah.
but I wanted something like this to clear my fear about this.
Mm.
That's the reason I'm doing this. So day by day, I want to be. I will say I am a combination of both, introvert as well as extrovert. It totally depends on the situation.
Yes. Okay. Now, thanks for your input. Now, they say you should never mix business with pleasure. Do you agree with this?
I do, because when you mix that, because I believe you can't focus on two things at one time. Either focus on business or focus on pleasure. If you try to do that, if you try to mix that, I'm 101% sure it will come down to the drain. So you shouldn't mix that.
Mm. Okay, good. There's another thing. Now, looking back at your start in the day, say you start your day, what are your schedule on a daily basis?
Like my routine. So
Your routine on a daily
I
basis.
I wake up around 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Then once I wake up, I do my stretches. Then I open my laptop. I check any emails are there, because every day I try to reach out to new prospects. So if I see if there are any new bookings which I have booked, to plan my day accordingly. After that, I go for a run. And as I said, we have a really good functioning gym at my residence. So I work out there for an hour. Once I'm back around 8:39, I do my daily meeting with my co-founder, with my other team members. We every day we put aside 15 minutes to talk about what are our agenda for the day, what are we gonna do, what are we gonna achieve. So once it's done, everybody get back to their work. And every now and then, if anybody has any problem, or if anybody wants to discuss anything, we have group meetings or one-to-one meeting with our team members. And once it is done, as I am into sales, I do my 50 to 60 cold calls I do daily. After that, I reach out to like current customers. Because the number one problem which I see is people always focus on new prospects, new customers, and once they close a particular deal, they never focus on the current customer. What I have seen in last 1 year is to reach out to your customers, because there is a potential of upselling and making the ticket size quite bigger. So I tend to follow up with my current custom portfolio of the customers to see if there is a way to upsell our product or cross sell any of our services.
How important is teamwork in your business?
See, it's a controversial opinion of mine. The thing is, I like to work individually, but I can say I like to have a good mix of working individually as well as working as a team. So as I said, because every morning we give 15 minutes as a group call to talk about the agenda. I guess that's more than enough to set the agenda. And as the task proceeds, if it is required, like if a teamwork is required, then you should work with them, or else I'm a one-man army.
If someone was to come into this business from university as a newbie, what advice would you give him or her at this stage, at his stage or her stage?
I'll say, because the one mistake which I did during my university was I never took part in any of the clubs or societies. I believe you should because like right now I just came back from my university, from my alumni. I am alumni of UCL. So I
Okay.
just came from UCL and I saw that there were like tons of people on the campus, and then I started abusing and cursing myself that why the hell I didn't take part in societies, because taking part in societies or clubs, it shapes, it gives you, it makes you open up the world. Because if I believe if I would have taken part in the societies, for me it would have been very easy to speak with new people, or go and speak with like thousands of people on a public stage, because societies and clubs gives you a platform to open up.
No, thanks for mentioning that. No, you mentioned society as being an extrovert, mixing with people, but there's normally, or there's a thumbnail by many wealthy people that in order to become from amongst the 1%, you have to distance yourself from the general population to a certain degree. Now, maybe your approach was on point because you co-founded a company and you're not really involved with others. So how would you keep a balance with social, like mixing with people a lot, and still being from the 1%?
See, what I believe is you need to set your priority quite straight. If for example in a given week, if I have like under top 10 things, 9 things are work related and they are quite important, so I balance my time accordingly. So at that particular week I will give 90% of my time to my work and 10% of time to being so social. So it totally depends on my week. If it is a hectic week, I would be like focusing on my work, getting away from people, from my social life. And if the next week, if it's quite chill, I will compensate that week, and I'll put more hours in for my social schedule rather than my work. So it totally depends week over week how is my week going on.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you've worked with a team for over a year, right? Now, it's highly possible that you have been into some, uncomfortable positions, some pros and cons. What are pros and cons of working in a team?
I will talk about cons are sometimes it is really unfair for you to expect that everybody in your team is at the same caliber. So that's and I was quite wrong from the beginning that if I am a 10, if I'm now a 9 out of 10, most of my rest of my team members should be 9 out of 10. And because of that, I faced a lot of problems in the initial time of my career. But I was quite smart to reverse my thinking, and it is not a. It is like working in a team is an act of addition and subtraction. Some might be 8, some might be 7, some might be 6, some might be 10. So you need to try to work together. So that was the number one learning which I learned over the year. So you shouldn't expect that everybody will be on the same caliber.
Okay, thanks for that. Now, you mentioned that some people will not be on the same category or level as yourself. Now, looking back, how could you have improved your thoughts, or could you improve your approach to helping others being at your level in the business as a team, so that you can all be productive at the same time in your business? Looking back.
What I believe is it is quite unfair to expect that. So you need to find a way. Like for example, if my teammate, if he might be 7 in communication, but chances are quite high that in marketing or in written content he might be 10 on 10 and I might be 5 on 10. So you need to find a perfect balance. You need to identify in what areas I like my what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, and if you are my co-worker, I have to identify what are your strengths and weaknesses and try to gel it up in a way that your strengths and my strengths get to work together, and with that my company can work quite well, working on your strengths and weaknesses.
Looking back to your approach in your business, do you think you have improved constantly, or it's the improvement you have had, it fluctuates?
No, I can see the improvement.
for you?
For me, and like my number one problem was working with teammates. That was my number one problem. But the thing is, since last 1 year, I can see there is improvement. I'm not saying I have achieved to the pinnacle, but I can see there is an improvement. I came to the peace that nobody can be on the same caliber, and day by day I can see the improvement. But I feel there is a long way to go
Yeah.
into that part. But I'm 101% sure if we work together with our strengths and weaknesses, we can achieve your goal.
Okay, good. Excellent, thanks. Now, when you retire, because you seem very young, maybe you will retire, maybe, I don't know, maybe next 50 years, maybe. How old are you?
I'm 25.
25. Oh, okay. Okay, so when you retire, what legacy do you want people to have of you? That,
I don't want people to remember me.
really?
No.
For making five figures, 700,000, they want you to just forget you?
I just want to make my money, take a nice apartment or a villa in south of France,
So the France.
chill, and stay low-key for the rest of my life. I don't want to be in a limelight. It's always better to earn your money and spend it in a private life. So it's said, right? If you're quite famous or if you're quite known, whatever you do, even you breathe, people will take notice about it. And
But that can be good and bad, right?
yes, but personally, I'm quite a person who believes in make your own money, spend it privately. Nobody should know about who you are as a person. Stay a mystery.
Really?
That's a
Okay.
beauty. That's a beauty. of it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best
Thank you so much.
in your business. And let's chat later.
Yep.
Thank you. Huh?